Okay.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Evan at Wayback's Arcade in Louisiana. We're coming at you today with our showcase video number 10. And for this one, I'm going to go back to the classics. So this is actually my favorite game. I get asked all the time, hey, what's your favorite arcade game? You must have a ton of them. And it's changed a little bit, but not much, right? So all these years of collecting and restoring games, and now having Louisiana's largest free play arcade, I get asked constantly, what is your favorite arcade game? And for the most part, it always stays the same. That answer is Robotron. Robotron is just, man, it's a classic. It's so different from any other, classic era arcade game. It was created by Eugene Jarvis, who had just come off hot on the heels of games like Stargate and Defender, and then he did Robotron, and it was a game changer. Now Robotron is different because you kind of have different objectives, right? So you're the aptly named Robotron hero, and what he was a human that had a genetic defect that the robots couldn't program him. So he's basically like a mutant, right? And you're in the year 2084, and your goal is to save the last human family. And so your objectives in the game are kind of threefold, right? So you're fighting against all these evil robots, the Robotrons, and so you start off in the middle, and it's just chaos from the beginning. You get like 1 to 2 seconds to kind of get a quick glance at what's going on, everybody's position on the screen before the action starts. So you have to balance running away, shooting the robots, and saving the people. And it's a very risk reward based gameplay, and it's split second decisions. And so it's extremely fast paced. Eugene Jarvis, he was heavily inspired by the game Berserk, which is another favorite of mine. Me and my brothers, we had it on Atari 2600. We probably played Berserk and Frogger more than any other game, maybe Commando. But anyway, the thing with Berserk, which it's a great game, I love Berserk, you're in this maze and you're a guy and you're shooting robots, so you see the similarities, right? But with Berserk, you have a joystick and a button. And if you push the button, nothing happens unless your joystick is moved in a certain direction. You push the button and it shoots in that direction. Now, if you're moving in a direction and you just hold down the button, then he will shoot no matter where you move the joystick, but your guy won't move. And so you have to really weigh the options of risk reward there. Like, if I stop here to shoot that robot, is another robot's bullet going to come down and get me? And so Jarvis, he liked the game. He liked it a lot, but he thought it could be better. And he had just happened to be in a car accident about the same time, messed up his right hand. So he couldn't really, push the buttons. His hand was in a cast, right? And so what he came up with is, wouldn't it be better if your left joystick moved the player around and your right joystick shot the bullets wherever you wanted? And what that did is it made it so much more accurate, so much more fast paced. And I think that's what I really like about the game is you could play it 100 times. It's never going to be exactly the same. You got, each wave gets progressively harder. I found that if you get past wave 13 or 14, you get a pretty good reprieve and the difficulty level drops. I want to say it's like, I think it goes in 20 wave increments, but to me, that sweet spot was Sage to 13. Um, but you have different robots you have to face. So, like, you start off with the grunts, right? And the grunts, they don't have any bullets, they don't have anything. Their trick is numbers. And so they will just start coming at you from all directions, trying to grab you, and they'll kill you. You also have stuff on the screen like obstacles called electrodes that they're just stationary blocks and barriers. You could shoot them, but if you run into them, you die. The Hulks start, I think, on wave 3. Maybe it was 2 or 3. Anyway, the Hulks, you can't kill them. There's no way to destroy them. All you can kind of do is blast them and like hold them back or slow them down, but you can't kill them. So you have to avoid those. So you got those two coming at you all the time. And then you have the enforcers, which are by far the ones I hate the most. They're these little flying robots that are shooting lasers at you, and they're made by the spheroids. So it's this little circle. The circle flies around, and he's really fast. So my strategy is try to kill him the second you see him, because what the spheroid does is he'll fly to a spot, and then he'll start making the enforcers. He'll just spit them out, and they'll chase you. They're fast. Their bullets are fast. So that you want to eliminate them as quick as possible. Uh, Later stages, you get to the brains. They got these massive brains, right? And what they do, they suck, but they're not as bad as the enforcers, in my opinion. But the brains, they have heat-seeking missiles that will track you, and they'll go in zigzags. It's really hard to get the missiles, um, but they will find the human family members, and if they touch them, they'll convert them into a prog, and basically turn your family members that you're trying to save into enemies that will then try just to go berserk and kill you. Then you have quarks. Quarks are like spheroids, but they're square. And instead of creating enforcers, they create tanks. What's called tanks. And these guys, they're not as bad as the enforcers, in my opinion. They shoot at you, they come at you, but it's like a bouncing bullet. And for whatever reason, I find they're kind of the opposite of the enforcers. See, the enforcers, they shoot at you. My strategy is usually back up, try to blast the bullets and take them out as I can. With the tanks, it's kind of the opposite, and it doesn't make much sense, but for whatever reason, it works. When they're shooting at you, my object with them is to charge at them. For some reason, it may just be in my head, but when I charge at them, I usually tend to survive a little better, going head first into the bullets. But not to say that they're easy, they still suck. But what I tend to do on the stages with them is I try to take the quarks out before the quarks make the tanks, just like the spheroids make the enforcers. But yeah, so the levels just get progressively harder. There's so many enemies on the screen. It quickly devolves into chaos, and I love it. I love it. It's one of my favorite games. As a matter of fact, I was talking to my business partner Jeremy and my wife who works up here and stuff, and I think we're about to start doing an event to where it's like come beat the boss, right? So when we start that, keep an eye out for it, and that's going to be my game because it's my favorite game. And what it'll be is like, on a beat the boss day, I might come up here on a Saturday, and if you can beat me in Robotron, which it's not going to be easy, but if you can beat my score, probably best of 3 in Robotron, then might do something like give you a free pizza or a free pass for something. But stay tuned for that and see if you can come beat the boss. I'm not the best. I'm not the best. I've seen some guys that have just crazy scores, but my scores aren't too shabby. I've gotten in the 450,000 range before. I've got a Robotron out here on the floor. I've got a Robotron at the house. Anytime I go to any other arcade, that's the first thing I look for is a Robotron, just to see how well I can do and put my initials on their screen. So anyway, guys, let's take a look out there. I'll show you our Robotron. You can see me incorporate a little bit of the strategy I just talked about. It's a fast-paced game, so I probably won't be doing much talking during the video because you die quick, right? So that's the best thing about Wayback's Arcade. You pay $13, you come in, you play all day, you hit the start button as many times as you want. If you were to try to play Robotron in the wild on quarters, $13 probably wouldn't last you 30 minutes. So let's go check it out and see what you guys think of my favorite arcade game, Robotron. All right, guys, so we're going to head down Williams Row. Just as another piece of history here, Eugene Jarvis, who made Robotron, also made this game, Smash TV. And this is kind of like the spiritual successor. As you can see, it still uses the dual joysticks, one to move, one to shoot, and you could have two players simultaneous. But this is like super 80s cheesy game show, kind of based on like the Running Man movie. But yeah, they had Smash TV, and then they did the sequel to this, which was Total Carnage, and they kind of took it another step further in the crazy level. The gameplay is almost identical. Speaking of successors, Williams also came out with Blaster, which was Eugene Jarvis again, in '83. And that was the actual successor to Robotron. But then the video game crashed at '83. It didn't get many produced. Wasn't a whole lot of love. It was a very different game. But anyway, so here is our Robotron. And for you collectors, you're probably looking at our Robotron and being like, wait, that's in a Joust cabinet. And then you're looking at our Joust and like, wait, that's in a Robotron cabinet. About the only difference is the sides. See, the Robotron side isn't out like the Joust side is. But what happened is these Robotron didn't catch on at first, but Joust was super popular. So they actually repurposed a few Jousts into the Robotron cabinets. And so that's what y'all see here. And I didn't have an actual Robotron cabinet at the time, so I just converted this Joust into a Robotron. So let's set up the POV and take a look, guys. All right, guys, after all that trash talking, I better not disappoint here. Let's see what we can do. There's the goal, get the points, get the people. Try to get rid of the spheroids as early as you can. You got to be watching where you're shooting, where you're walking, watching the people. You got to do a lot of things at one time. And I left Mikey behind. Sometimes you just got to make those decisions, though. Uh-oh. That was my mistake. Oh, no, he doubled back on me. It gets a little hectic. That was pretty horrible, though. Let's try one more. Yeah, maybe with the heat seeker. I can't get away from bullets. I had to leave her. Oh, that was kind of crap. There we got the quartz. Get rid of them before they make tanks. Oh, put myself in a corner between all the bolts. Sometimes charging forward doesn't work. What about happening? No. Stinking spheroids everywhere. Oh, I can't hit her. Oh, the enforcers. They're gonna get me. Just gotta get that last few. Ah. It gets a little hairy sometimes. I just walked into him. Yeah. That level, man, you gotta get to the edge quick. Definitely not my best showing, but not too bad. I think it's 148 something. Let's see, where are we? 148, 325, number 8 overall on the machine. The highest I've gotten on this one is 199.050. This was a board replacement though. I think my highest at the house is 237. The highest I'll ever like 450. And that was an arcade in Dallas. Sometimes the stars align, sometimes they don't. But what a great game. I love Robotron. Come try it out. See if you can beat my score. Might win you some free stuff. Anyway, guys, we'll catch y'all next time at Wayback's Arcade, Louisiana's largest free play classic arcade.